Well, Ronald, first of all, welcome back to Staplewood. Just tell us about your summer, first of all.
The summer was fantastic. Good weather. We have a house in Portugal on a golf course, and we enjoy it. We enjoyed first 2 weeks with my wife and with some friends, and playing a lot of golf. And the last week we had the whole family together, and that was nice. And 4 weeks of holiday, that's enough, because then after 4 weeks, and also during the summer, you have your telephone on your mobile on the side. And I spoke a lot to Les Reed. I spoke a lot to Russ, the scouting head of scouting, and of course it's always football, because to be the manager is different than to be the player. To be the player, you put everything behind yourself, and you take holiday. And as a manager, you're always a little bit involved in the business, and but it was a relaxing summer.
As you say, though, it's been a busy 4 or 5 weeks, hasn't it already? Transfers done, friendlies planned. Let's start by talking about the transfers. As you mentioned, you've been speaking to people all during that time, but to see 3 transfers completed before the first day of pre-season training must have been something that made you very happy.
Yeah, of course, because I think that's the best way to have a good adaptation for the player, that he starts quickly in the pre-season. In that case, happy with Maarten Stekelenburg, who's the goalkeeper, because we know the injury of Fraser Forster will take some more months, and we need 3 good goalkeepers. And the second one is the right fullback. I think we did a great job. It's Cedric Soares is still a young player, he's an international player. He made his debut for the Portuguese national team. And of course the sign of Juanmi make good publicity, because a young player, and that's good, because that's part of our philosophy in the club, that we like to work with young players, we like to develop young players, and also like Soares, Cedric and Juanmi make his debut in the Spanish national team, and great signings for the club.
I guess the big contrast between this summer and last summer is the fact that those signings are being done first. You know, you're not replacing players, you're making good strengthening signings for the season ahead. Yeah,
I think, in my opinion, that's the best, that you make the first step and you don't wait out about when you lose players and then you sign players, because then everybody knows you have so much money what you get for to sell the players, and then you have to pay much more money for a player than normally you want to pay, and that's good.
Do you think that sends a good message to the people here at the club and to the fans as well, to see the club doing that?
No, that's a very good positive message, because we continue like we did in the last season, and we mentioned to everybody we keep going, and we are not. We like to develop ourselves, and we like to develop the club, and we hope that we pass through the last qualification round to play European football, because that's amazing for the fans, that's amazing for the club, and it's very good for the players, but because you get a lot of experience to play in Europe, and that's all message is that the club is growing, and the team is growing, and of course the expectation will be more higher than it was last season, but it's normal after the season what we did last year.
To bring in a player like Juanmi, an additional attacking player, is that a little sign that you see the squad needing more depth for the season ahead?
Yeah. First of all, it's the quality of the player, because you don't bring players in to have 28 players. The player needs to have a certain level to give competition to the rest of the players, and I think in that position, in the offensive midfield position, the position on behind the striker, we need some more players that we can use in that position, and it makes more competition to the team in a very strong, difficult season what we will get, because hope we will play European League football, and then you play till December, you play 6 more games, and in already a busy Premier League season, and you need experience, you need in numbers the squad to have to give really competition in all the competitions what you have to play.
You mentioned the arrival of Europa League football, or at least Europa League qualification. Just how much of a boost was that for you 1 week into your summer holiday?
No, that was great. I was expecting that Arsenal won the final, but it was one final, one game, and you never know. But it was a great result for us, because that means that we get the possibility to play European League next season. But first we have to wait about the draw, that we know which will be our opponent, and then we have to win. It's a little bit different now, the pre-season, because that's a moment, that's a day that we like to be perfect, to win that battle against the opponent that we will know in the middle of July.
In terms of your planning, do you approach it at this stage as if you will get through? You do have to plan in advance, because you know it's a pressurised summer, isn't it? You have to kind of look for the most games possible.
The most important is the start of the Premier League, because that means 6 weeks of pre-season. I think that's that's perfect. But of course, in your head, you have that game, but you have to play on the 30th of July, and I think it's the 6th or the 7th of August. But it's not that we start now the pre-season that we have to be in full condition, in full of spirit at that day. You can't do that, because that means for the international players who starts next week, then you talk about 3 weeks, and in 3 weeks you can't be 100%. But it's an important date that we will have to be and to win that game.
More and more people in England talk about the Europa League as if it's a difficulty or something that they didn't want. But what's been really refreshing, I think, is that everybody at this club has talked about it with positivity and how much they're looking forward to being involved in the competition. I'm assuming that's a view that you share.
Yeah, but of course, that we mentioned that the whole season that will be a big prize for the club to play in European League. And I understand, because you play on a Thursday and you have a short preparation to the weekend. I understand that, but it's a new situation for us. We need that experience. And I can understand that the big teams are not very happy, because they have to win the title, they have to qualify for the Champions League, and it's a different pressure than we have. But I'm happy when we reach the European League stage.
It's the first day of pre-season today, but as you've alluded to a couple of times, it's not the full squad. How are you managing that, really? Because it must have been strange to walk through today and see maybe only 6 or 7 of the first teamers that you will have in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's okay, but on the other side, I look always positive to that, because the international players, they need at least 3 weeks of holiday, and that means for them that they have to present next Monday. But that gives opportunities and space to young players, and that's part of the philosophy of the club, and it's part of my philosophy, that you get and make space and give opportunities to young players, because they can show the qualities, and maybe it will be one player who surprise everybody and he will stay in the first team. You never know. But we make a big group. We have now 18, 19 players and 3 goalkeepers. So we have a good group to start the season and to train what we like to do. And next week, okay, some under 21 players will stay with the under 21s, because we get a lot of international players back, and then we go to Austria, and that will be the 2nd week of the pre-season.
And in terms of how your 2 new players, Juan Mi and Martin Stekelenburg, fitted in today, pretty happy with how they're fitting in?
Yeah, very good. But they are the goalkeeper, Martin. I know him. He makes his debut when I was coaching Ajax in Holland, and we know each other very well. And Juan Mi, okay. I speak Spanish. Fran is in the club. Castro Ramirez is in the club, and they can translate a little bit, and he has to learn English, because we are an English football team, and the language is English the whole day, and he has to learn. But we can give him some advice and translate things. That's good, and they look very happy.
Going forward then, I'm imagining that the vast majority of players will come back hopefully in a week or so's time, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Normally we start the second week. We start next Monday with the whole group, and then we will make the squad for Tuesday to travel to Austria.
As you said, off to Austria next week then. And what do you hope to achieve from that trip first of all?
No, we start to play a friendly on that Wednesday, and that's too early for the international players. But we will use that friendly game with the people who starts today, and after that we have the 2 45 minutes games. The first one against Valencia, and normally the international players will play 45 minutes, and that's the second week. But it's for them the first week. For the rest of the players, it's the second week, and we have to grow in all the aspects of football, in the physical way, in the way how we like to play football, and most of the players, they know that.
And then after that, it's over to your country, Holland, and 2 games which I imagine will be quite emotional for you to go back to Groningen and Feyenoord.
Yes, of course, and I think it's nice. Last season we were in Belgium. We enjoy it very much, and but we have now good friendlies, 2 good friendly games. One against Groningen, is our hometown, and Feyenoord is still more special because I was coach over there in 3 years in a row, and a great feeling with the club and the fans, and it's a nice stadium to play a good match against them, and it's a little bit the last serious one before the qualification for the European League.
And those types of games as well, Feyenoord, Groningen, both in European competition, and also Espanyol coming up later. These are good preparation games for what you hope to achieve in the Europa League.
You need good friendlies, because that's good for the development of the players, and to have competition against different style of playing, against different teams, different countries. I think that's a good experience for us, what we will have this pre-season.
We've spoken about transfers already, the 3 players you have brought in, but people will now be hoping for and expecting even more players to arrive. Have you started to think about that, other possible additions to the squad?
Yes, but we are still looking, and of course we have some doubts about situation. For example, for Toby Alderweireld, the player likes to stay. We like to keep the player, but it's a little difficulty at the moment with Atletico Madrid. But I have a good hope that he will stay for Southampton, and we have the situation with Morgan Schneiderlin. We have to wait what will happen. Till now we have not a serious bid for him from Man United. We will wait, but okay, that's business what normally starts from now, and it's no problem. It's the first day. We have the experience from last season. It will be not the same this season, but we are prepared for everything, and looking forward for another good season.